Hello and welcome from this is our July meeting, July 11th, 2026, and we're meeting outside of Bethany Presbyterian for a different meeting. It's so beautiful outside, and there's a few of us here today, so we'll discuss things and see what are the concerns of the people. And first off, I'm Dana Mason, Vice President of Bronzeville Neighborhood Association. And Willis Brown, president, is out today, and we won't see him till September because August is vacation month. We don't have a meeting in August. So nobody, please don't come in August. Come in September, the second Saturday. And we'll be in the basement of Bethany Presbyterian Church. So again, there's people coming by or going to sit and join our meeting, which is nice. So we have many things happening in the neighborhood. There's some big projects and there's a lot of little projects, and there's all kinds of concerns. And of course, the big project right now is the demolition of the Latitude over there on Leonard. And one building is getting close to coming down, and they'll be starting the second one pretty quick. And it's progress. We're looking forward to that. And Bean is the one that's going to be doing the development. And like we said, there's a lot of things in play with that development, which includes the old Felton School site and the old Monroe Middle School site. So those two sites combined with the Latitude site that's being demolished is an opportunity for a lot of housing, several thousand units to get in there without any difficulty, which is a good thing for everybody, for businesses and all other kinds of opportunities in the neighborhood. The more people in the neighborhood, more kids, and the hospital in the city takes more notice of it. So this past Thursday, the Erie Area Commission, in particular the zoning committee, met on several sites on the Erie side, and one of them was here on Long Street to do a review of the current corridor from the Deal, which basically Elijah Pierce, Hamilton, Garfield, down to Monroe, which included the Deal, the Ogden, and the Adelphi. And see what they thought and what the community thought as a result of what's been constructed now is completed. So there was a lot of discussion about aesthetics and particular little things about the building, but when the big question came out, do you the commissioners feel like this is good? Does it feel good? I said, yes. So then they said, well, then it'd be nice if we can continue this down the street, keep going down toward Champion, which is the long-term ideal, which we'd like to see. And then I brought up the parking lot directly across from the Lincoln Theater, like we've said many times. And we said to City Council almost a month ago, the parking situation now on this corridor between, say, 17th and Elijah Pierce, just past Hamilton, is stressed right now. And so we have small businesses like Batista Flower Shop, Creole Kitchen, other restaurant across the street from Batiste down there. The lawyers are now, the businesses are threatened because they don't have enough parking. People can't park, so they're hesitating to come. And like we told City Council, you and we in Bronzeville and the neighborhood worked so hard to get the businesses that we now have. We can't lose them. Please don't let them leave because people can't get here. So we said we need that parking garage across from the Lincoln Theater with apartments in the front, commercial retail below, and then parking behind. And we had the same thing to the west, right beside the Lincoln Theater, to do the same kind of combination of things. So the commission again said, yeah, we've heard several proposals over the years. Yes, they have, because we've talked to the city about this for 25 years. And now we have everything in place and we don't want to lose it. So again, we're trying to get we talked to the mayor about this. So this is a concern, not only for we that are here, but for people coming in, because they have this feeling, it looks like things are happening. We don't want to lose that momentum. Excuse me. So with those general things, does anybody have any concerns or interests they'd like to bring up?
Well, I can bring up something. I've moved right over here off of Mount Vernon as it goes this way. It has now, for the first year I had moved, there was always a big cluster of people trying to come to get in. Now we're starting to see more and more turnover, people moving out. And I got three different ones yesterday and 2 today. And they're right outside. And I asked them, they said, well, always had to find something a little more, not as high. And we either have to park back here, we can't park in front of the house. And I said, yeah, that's true, because the bar is here, and from 4:30, that's when things start filling. And that's the only thing that's happening here that I've seen that I'm starting to not like.
The turnover, and that's been discussed, but that is a thing that's happening citywide, because the number of new apartments that are being built and being completed is amazing. So the opportunities, people are moving from place to place because they find something here and get a better deal, and then they move. So that is not unexpected, but and that's just because of the market. As you have more availability, prices tend to drop. So when your lease comes up and you go, oh, I could get the same thing and it's less here, some people will take that opportunity. And then, of course, there's some people who feel a connection to the neighborhood or would do whatever they can to stay. So that's kind of what's going on there. But any concerns about the bar or anything like that, we can talk about that.
As they do, why can't they be required to have on-site parking and not the option of paying for parking? Because the apartments here at the corner of this street, after the parking lot's empty, because they're given the option to pay for parking every month. But if it's in part of their payment, then there's always a place to park. And that leaves some more room on the street for those that live here that don't have driveways and those that are coming to the restaurants. Because it's not even $30 down there.
Right.
And half of them, the parking lot happen all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, again, that's just another model for the what you pay for your rent. So there's various ways to reduce your rent. One of them is to say, okay, we're going to charge you for the park. So that's a way to suppress the rental rates. But many people want to have their vehicle in a protected area, which you have security there. Things are less likely to happen when you're on the street. Again, it's, there's no city statute that says you have to park in a parking area for apartments. They do that as a convenience.
I understand that, but if it's already inclusive, there's nothing to argue about the personal rest, because it's there already. You can't rent without it. So if you need space, good. If you don't, okay.
Right.
But it leaves availability for others.
Yeah. So when we talk about the parking across from the Lincoln Theater, that will not eliminate the parking concern, but it will add to the possibilities, the number of parking spaces, which is becoming more and more an issue. And the parking behind the Delphi, that open surface parking area, that is not the most efficient, and there's a lot of wasted space there. So they could easily do more parking there. Stack parking, and actually you could do additional apartments back there with parking underneath. So there's several things in the future. We have ways to make that a more usable site. It's a lot of wasted space.
Is there any plan on Monroe and Long after they move all those trucks that are helping to build whatever they're building?
Yeah, there's a property owner has that property on the other corner, immediately to the east, has both of those corners, and he's talked at various times about doing things. So he goes from the Monroe and Long to almost to the Teresa River. So he has that whole site. He's talked about doing things at various times, and so hopefully we'll see some opportunity there. And it's ideal point. Several years ago, actually it was almost 20 years ago, there was a proposal put together by us, Brownsville Neighborhood Association, McNabbs, Tony Fisher, who owns some sites, to go from Monroe, where the mini market was, there on the northeast corner, from that corner all the way down to the lot we're talking about now across from the Lincoln Field. It was all up with grass. And we put several proposals before the city. And we had drawings, we had everything, but things didn't happen. But we were looking at the long term. So we all know there's a lot of things that can be done on that site, in those infill sites. So we'll hope that the interest continues, and I think it will. We have a lot of new people moving into the neighborhood, wanting to be in the neighborhood, and real estate in this neighborhood is fascinating because several of us have been here for a while. And remember in the 90s, some of us a lot longer than that, but in the 90s in this area, people were leaving in the late 80s. They said they couldn't give away their property. You can believe people saying that. So today, between Monroe and Talmadge, right before you get to Mount Vernon, 2 houses have been built on one site.
Right. Back and forth.
And one on Monroe, one on Talmadge, just before you get to Market, which is right before Mount Vernon. The one on Talmadge Street is on the market now for between 600,000 and 700,000. You have a chance, go by. So that one, and that is not in the one on Monroe, will be more. I don't know how much more, but it will be more than that one. So, and that's Talmadge, which people have said bad things about Talmadge over the years. And Carol Fields, who's been with us in Bronzeville Neighborhood Association for years, lives on Talmadge. She's defended Talmadge for a long time. And it's a street worthy of its name. And when you have people building on Talmadge and asking that kind of a price, they know what they have. And it backs up on the King Art Center. Right there in the park.
Area this town was not 18, 1700. All this was county plot, and then it was divided up over.
Yeah. So the market and the interest in the neighborhood is increasing, and with the city now saying you can build more structures on a lot than just one house, whether it's a granny flat or another additional house, that adds a lot of economic opportunity to people who have property. So the momentum in the neighborhood for people looking into what's here is definitely there, because they hear the value of that. They go, wow, down there, because a lot of people still have the misconception that, quotes, this is the ghetto, which is, those of us that live here would say, no, it hasn't been. But some people, when they come here, maybe for the first time or it's been a long time, they're shocked by what they see. Not only in house values, but what the neighborhood actually looks like. So those days are gone. So and then we have other infill properties that are going on. The other thing is the city contracts for the handicap ramps now being acted on. We have Spring Street has a bunch of new handicap ramps, which is nice. The only concern is sometimes they get a little aggressive and they want to cut too much on their limestone curbs, sandstone curbs, excuse me. Sometimes they cut out more than they have to. And those our curbs in our brick streets go back to the 1870s. So anytime you come in and do anything on any of our streets, you've got to be careful. It's a historic area. It may not be designated as such, but everybody knows that it is. So anybody have any concerns or is anything you want to say? Anybody?
I'd like to bring up on my street, which is Eastwood, between Timber Avenue and Winter Avenue, on the corner lot, which is Birch Street. One of the owners' wall was coming down. He got a citation from the city that you have to get this retainer wall put up. Whoever put it up didn't put the rebar and stuff in it. So now he has a downspout drain coming from the yard down to the sidewalk. I said, you can't do that. It has to be underground.
Right.
And I said, now, if you don't believe me, call the city. And they go, because if somebody falls on it when it's icy, they're going to sue you. And then the neighbor beside him, she had parked cars in the driveway. Her driveway hits his back lot. And for 3 years, she had him covered. The city gave her X amount of days to get him moved and said that they think we're coming all down our street to make sure people are maintaining their property, you know. And our worst thing over there is the alleys. The neighbors don't clean their alleys, you know. But my little section, it's okay, because they know I'm crazy over there. But it's just where the city is trying to help them, and they're mad with the city. No, don't be mad. Be mad with yourself, you know. So he told me that. So I said, well, next time you see them, ask them why, you know. But he says, I didn't want to get a fine, so that's why he got his wall fixed. But they didn't do a good job. But I was pleased with that when I heard that.
And that's good, as you know. You call 311, 614-645-311, and they'll take your concern, your entries, your complaint, and then we have a new city code enforcement person in this neighborhood, and they will investigate and then do what's necessary after that. And it's real easy to do, and if you don't get satisfaction, you can keep calling them back. And they've been very helpful. Thanks. Anything? Any interest? Positive? Good?
I didn't know the house was over there. The guy got bought. Atlas now finished up $625,000.
Y'all put on their website thing?
Which house?
How many paying for next door to me?
I went to the open house. He said it was $625,000
Where is this?
for a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom,
Basement?
Yes.
wine bar,
Basement?
full wet bar. Yeah.
Right.
So I'd say that one's gonna
Be there.
probably.
Well,
But I think the worst part of it is that while you're putting too much money into these houses, when it should have been having should at least have at least 200, maybe 250. When you're coming, you know, when you're thinking of as like a tenant or at least like a renter, what are you going to do with this? Why are you buying this house in particular, or why are you going to rent this house out in particular? Is it because of your job? Is it because of the business that you are? Is it because of your family? That's, you know, just think about it. Say if it's for my job. Say if I work in downtown, about 15 minutes. That I don't, you know, it's going to be perfect. You got the bus line right here. You got the car down. Yeah, you can have a walkable area. But the problem is that you're going to be spending how much long money for rent in order to even walk down there. And I'm pretty sure most of those city jobs are at least $2-3 over for minimum wage, I believe, or even much $2 or $3 more via salary. Let's say you're a college kid, trying to go to community college, be there for about 4 years and your lease is up. You can still go there and point to and fro, but how much money does it take for the community college to even get there? How much it is for food? How much it is for even just getting textbooks? How much it is for even if you have a car? How much it is for parking over there? That's another exorbitant fee. And say if it's a massive family, that might be a family home, 4 bed, 3 baths. How much is it going to take for your child to go to school? Because keep in mind, we're in Columbus City School. We're not in many of these other schools that are around here. So how much is that going to be taken into consideration? As much as we like seeing all these buildings getting propped up, we're getting propped up. We're basically getting outbid. Sell my house from over there, that's going to be $250,000, and that's a modest, historical six beds, 3 floors, 6 rooms household, compared to that one that costs $625,000 that has a freaking wet bar down there. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that's going to quadruple its price. And you could have just removed it, and you could have had a nice, simple, stable household. That's the biggest issue when I see when it comes to these houses, from Monroe to all these other places, is who are they selling it to? That's the biggest question. Because if I were a person that was walking around here, yes, there's a lot of good quality places here, but I don't see an average person who's working at a 9 to 5 at a McDonald's is going to that place. I don't see someone who is effectively even working as like a massive engineer tech job that's going to go to that place, especially if they're trying to bring up a family. So I'm trying to ask the question of who thought it was a good idea to even have that, or at the very least just try to download yourself. The other thing is that when it comes to that parking area outside, across the street from King Lincoln, that is a true thing that has to be, settled and figured out. But the problem is that I don't think you should have like a sort of apartment complex retail space area, because you're going to affect the people that is across the street from over there. It's like one of those, what would they call it, with infill, and then you're building like another massive house that's about 6 feet higher than what it is. You're going to be casting a looming shadow over the guys that's going to be living over there. You're not going to be able to really see the city over on that end. That's going to affect their house. That's going to affect their house price, because even if you are on the 3rd floor, I can't see the city anymore. Not just because of Adelphi, but if that gets to an apartment complex, I'm just going to effectively be seeing nothing but darkness. Either that or someone's on the window and they're just doing something, I don't know. Or, fixing them, doing their clothes or whatever. So, I'd say that, yeah, parking is very, very important, and it's important for the guys that are at the business, but the problem is that, there's a big turnover, and then people just happen to park wherever they park. Is what we saw on Thursday, right? The whole Heritage Festival. Everyone's trying to find a way to park where they park, and then, you got people trying to drive and rush town just so that they can get to see the band. And I think that's like the sort of focal point that we need to tackle on. For that, Adelphi quarter over there, yeah, that is right, that it is their right that they can not be able to, fix up their price, to lower their price, so that way they won't have a reserved parking area, because usually some of them use Uber and Lyft to drive to and fro. But the problem is that you have that same parking area being used as a means to drop people off when it comes to, say, things like waves, or when they're dropping their family off or anything like that. And that's not even taking into consideration of the people that is living on the curb area where they have to use their own cars and their own ways to get through over there. And I can't believe that, you know, it's really hard to even say that. And then I'm thinking of maybe we could try, that old side parking area that had the detectives, that was used for like police cars and police vans and everything, where Equipas helps keep their vans up. Why can't we just try to sell that as a reserve, put that as a reserved area?
Well, when we talk about real estate prices, you got to keep in mind that we're in the inner city neighborhoods. So you have Short North, Trim Village, Franklinton, Old Town, Bronzeville, Milo Grove. Every one of these neighborhoods is feeling the same pressure. Mm-hmm. We're not isolated. Mm-hmm. Franklinton, Milo Grogan, and Bronzeville, for too long, prices were suppressed because of the negative feelings about the neighborhood. Whether they were true or not, they suppressed the tax base because there was not perceived value. People said they didn't want to be here. That's all changed. And it changed real fast when Poindexter was changed to its current form. Suddenly, people thought, maybe I can look into that area. Maybe that's going to be okay. Then there's the people that have been here for a long time who know what this area is, who have seen what the price pressure is doing. And we know the big thing is the taxes. And like we've been saying, the state's been talking about, the city, the county, everybody. The tax which you owe on your personal property, there has to be some kind of arrangements made, particularly for seniors. Seniors who have been in their house for however many years, 15, 20, 25, whatever it is. If you've been here for a while, you should have your taxes held at a certain rate or greatly reduced. You already have homestead exemptions, but with the construction and the value of comps affecting house prices and everything, you have to do that because we can't lose our seniors. Seniors are a very important part of any neighborhood. So, like I said, the city, the state, and the county keep talking about it, and it's time to do something because the new tax evaluations are coming out real quick. In the next year or so, we're going to see the new ones in this area. And there's going to be some shock. There's going to be some real shock. So, but prices are going up because Columbus is perceived as being a place to be. It's desirable. It's the growing place between Chicago and Pittsburgh. So you have all kinds of people coming here for all kinds of opportunities. And if you come from New York, California, Texas, wherever, you come over here, you say, "My God, can you believe what I can buy with the money I have?" But if you sell your house here and try to buy another house, you don't feel that same euphoria. You feel like, "Oh my gosh, I can't afford to leave because I couldn't buy what I already have."
To be fair, all I'm saying is that how they built it and how much they're putting added to it, they're just spending exorbitant fees upon it. Like, it would have been better if you just didn't, if you made it as a nice staple, like don't even put no shade carpeting in there or laissez-faire, beautiful bedding or whatnot. Just try to make it as it is and how all these other houses are, how all these other houses were. I get and I understand that it costs an exorbitant fee to make it as safe as possible. Gone are the days where you can find a brick mason to just even make a brick house like how it is back then. But the fact that I'm seeing that Milo Grogan house, the fact that I'm seeing that house, it just looks completely different. They don't really clearly see of what all the other houses are, and they're clearly spending so much more money when that's just a whole waste of money. It would have been better if you didn't put no carpeting in there. You put some nice flooring in there and try to make it. This is a 2-bathroom, 2-bedroom. It's just weird. It's weird of how they do all these houses around here because they think that they're going to get a lot of bang for their buck, but they clearly don't know the neighborhoods surrounding that.
Well, the market will bear what it can. If property is moving, people are buying, then you can't tell people they have to expect less. Or they have to sell for less than what they can get. That's the American way. And this neighborhood, when it was originally laid out back in the 1870s, was an amazing neighborhood. I mean, it was not thought of as being back on its heels and down and out. It was always a big neighborhood. And even in the difficult times after the Second World War, there still were areas in this neighborhood that were nice and always were nice. Eastwood, for instance, was always nice. And some other streets. So we've come full circle now. We're back to being a place people want to be. And we have available land. So the market will determine what happens. And if you're right, things are just too much, then people are going to have to sell at a lower price. But, we're not seeing that because the prices keep going the other way. But, I mean, it's amazing because in the 90s, 50,000 for a house around here. And around 2,000. I remember when you got up to between 100 and 200,000, people couldn't believe it. There was a house on 20th there at Spring, went for 225, and people were in shock when that went out. And now, and then it was 300,000. Now we're up to the 600,000.
Miami never about a home.
Yeah.
They've been there years.
Yeah.
So it's always been there.
Oh yeah, between Long and Broad. Yeah. Right.
People don't realize that. So, oh yeah, they're over there. And this neighborhood, what neighborhood? This neighborhood.
So the big thing is you gotta statewide, you gotta find a way to get people in their houses and help people to stay in the house because more and more people want to age in their house. They don't want to go anymore. A lot of people can't afford to go anymore. It's true. If taxes don't kill you, if you go to some senior living place, that place is just wiped out. The whole family. It's terrible. So that's an ongoing concern and issue, but it beats the alternative, which is people saying, I don't want to be over there because there's nothing there. There's no reason to be. There's no value over there. We went through that years ago. Those days are gone. So, does anybody have any other interests, concerns, hopes, desires?
Is the old middle school part of the new being developed?
No, not at the moment. But the Monroe Middle School and the Monroe Middle School and Felton School sites are connected now because they're under the control of Columbus Public Schools. So they will release those when they find somebody who's interested in better and higher use, however they say that. And the closest example to that is the little Douglas School site over there behind the BP they're working on between Monroe and 18. And that was the Douglas School site. For a long time it was available. And then they decided to make it a senior center, the city did. Fran Ryan Senior Center, beautiful building. There's a lot of people. I've been in there for several things. Yeah, it's real nice. So
The school down there was
Douglas Middle School is long gone.
oh jeez.
Oh, you need to go over there.
I watched it being built, but I didn't know that.
No, you need to go over there.
Oh,
It's impressive.
Not a senior place.
It's nice. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I understand it's a senior center. I understand that, but, you need something for.
So we need our baby center back. So, again, there's no meeting in August. It's summer vacation. And so we meet in September, and we hope to see President Brown back in September. And let's see what else. Of course, we have our music. Like it was talked about, the Heritage Music Festival started last Thursday. 5 more weeks on Thursdays. And it's always interesting. A lot of people know. And with that, motion to close the meeting. Second? Second? All right. So, okay.